Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings everyone. Welcome to the presentation of Process-Based Flipped Classroom in the Teaching of ESL Writing for the 5th International Research Conference on Humanities, Social Sciences and Technology 2021. I am your presenter for today. My name is Uswatun Nurrahmah Noorhassanah Bolkiah from Universiti, Malaysia, Sabah. This presentation is starting from introduction, problem statement, research questions, methodology, findings, and future agenda. Introduction. Educators are always searching for a way to improve their teaching strategy from chalk and talk to active classroom, as well as the integration of technology to go along with the change of time and the development of technology, which resulted to blended classroom. Blended classroom is the incorporation of technology and in-situ learning. Flipped classroom, on the other hand, is just another form of blended classroom, where students first exposed to the content of learning before the learning takes place. Problem statement. It is found that products written by learners are fairly disappointing and do not seem to correlate with their proficiency in some other language abilities. They perceive that writing is the hardest skill to acquire. Malaysian students, specifically, perform unsatisfactory in English language examination, especially in writing. Students find it hard to perceive and have problems in terms of insufficient of linguistic proficiency, writing anxiety, lack of ideas interjection, relying to first language, and organization of language structure. It is undeniable that writing is time-consuming to teach and learn, as it has several aspects in writing, such as format, grammar, and language structure. Researchers have been debating on the right approach to use to teach writing, which resulted to 3 approaches, which are product-based approach, process-based approach, and genre-based approach. Research questions. The main objectives of this research is to investigate students' writing performance after the implementation of flipped classroom approach and process-based approach, as well as their perception on the implementation of the approaches respectively, which resulted to 2 research questions, which are: does students' writing performance enhance after the implementation of flipped classroom approach, and does students' writing performance enhance after the implementation of process-based approach? Flipped classroom approach. Flipped classroom approach, or also known as inverted classroom, follows closely to the fundamental of blended learning, which was developed by scholars named Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams back in 2007. Flipped classroom reverses the role of traditional teaching and learning approach by conveying the instructional content, usually by video, outside of the classroom. Then, the in-class learning will be on activities such as discussion. The characteristics of flipped classroom approach are such as personalized learning experience, hands-on, teacher as a guide, student-centered classroom, digital classroom, and learning as homework and homework as classroom activity. Process-based approach. Process-based approach in the teaching of writing skill focuses on the creativity of the individual writer that pays a significant effect towards the development of a good writing practice, instead of a mere imitation of another writing text as demonstrated in product-based approach. It also emphasized the way a text is written, and very contradicting with the understanding of product approach, which focuses more on the final outcome of the writing. This is the process in process-based approach, starting with pre-writing, drafting, revising, and finally publication and sharing. Methodology. Moving on to the methodology. The first step is to identify vital keywords and phrases in order to answer the research questions. There are 6 keywords used in this research, which are flipped classroom approach, writing, writing performance, process-based approach, and process writing approach. Two databases were chosen in this research to identify relevant articles on flipped classroom approach and process-based approach. This is the flowchart of this research, starting from inclusion criteria, keywords, language, year, and exclusion of irrelevant literatures. Findings. Combining the two databases, 1,789 papers were found. After going through the inclusion criteria and alterations, authors have chosen 6 relevant articles of flipped classroom approach on writing skill. On the other hand, for process-based approach on writing, an amount of 1,991 papers were found. After going through the inclusion criteria and alterations, authors have chosen 8 relevant articles. This is the list of relevant articles for flipped classroom approach. Based on the researchers' findings, authors have found that the implementation of flipped classroom approach really improves students' achievements in their English language writing. Students have better understanding in the learning of writing and English language grammar. Students also give positive feedbacks and perspective in terms of the approach, collaborative learning, and integration of technology in classroom. This is the list of relevant articles for process-based approach. Based on the researchers' findings, the authors have found that the implementation of process-based approach really enhanced students' achievements in their English language writing. Students also give positive feedbacks in terms of the approach, collaborative learning in generating ideas, and combination of technology with the approach. Low proficiency students were helped by the high proficiency students in the editing and revising stage. Future agenda. Based on the past researches in this paper, the authors are proposing a combination of flipped classroom approach and process-based approach using the pedagogy as promoted by post-method pedagogy era pioneered by Kumaravadivelu in 1994. According to Kumaravadivelu 1994, post-method pedagogy is a condition where a state of pedagogy requires educators to refigure the relationship between the theories and practitioners. Conclusion. In conclusion, flipped classroom approach and process-based approach definitely help in enhancing students' English language writing. The integration of the approach respectively with technology help to increase students' achievement and encourage them to work collaboratively and promote active learning. Based on Kumaravadivelu's post-method parameters, which are particularity, practicality, and possibility, authors are proposing that process-based flipped classroom approach is one of the approaches in post-method pedagogy. This research consists of 4 members, which are Uswatun Nurrahmah Noorhassanah Bolkiah, Associate Professor Dr. Wardatul Akmamdin, Dr. Megawati Soekarno, and Associate Professor Dr. Suyansa Swanto from Faculty of Psychology and Education, Universiti, Malaysia, Sabah. And that's all from me. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.